Welcome to the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, where we break down what it really takes to win in short-term rentals in today's market. From insider tips and emerging trends to real conversations with top playmakers in the space, this show gives you the tools, strategies, and mindset to build and scale a successful short-term rental business. Now, here's your host, Joe Rohne.
This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, and I am super excited because I have a special treat for you today. I get asked a lot, Joe, how do you do it all? How do you handle a podcast and manage a vacation rental business and sell real estate and have a coaching program and do all the different things that we do? And today I'm bringing the magic behind the curtain, the wizard, my wife, Jen Rohne. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
So I'm having Jen on the podcast today because we have a really exciting week coming up. We actually worked together on a book that's going to be launching this week.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
So on Saturday, which is Valentine's Day, we have a book that we are co-published with a bunch of other authors. You've probably seen some other stuff about some of the authors that's coming out, and it really does a deep dive into our journey and how we got into this space all the way back from the beginning. So I'm going to let Jen kind of chat about how the writing of this book went, because it's not one of those things that you sit around and you do for months. We kind of wait till last minute on some things.
Yeah, I'm kind of a procrastinator. You know that for sure. So I don't know. The writing process was, it was fun, but at the same time, a little stressful because we definitely put it off a little longer than we should have, don't you think?
We did, especially since we signed up to do this book over a year ago.
Yeah.
And we had a year to write our chapter.
Yeah.
And we waited until like a week before the deadline.
Yeah. But it was super exciting because doing that with you, I think we both got to touch base on some things that we know, but we forgot. Like, yeah, that is what really got us here. And it was exciting to kind of touch base on all those things again.
Yeah. So what's really cool about this book is on Saturday is Valentine's Day. It's coming out. And 25 years ago, this Saturday, we actually bought our first real estate property together, and I proposed to Jen.
Yeah.
So did you know that this was our 25-year anniversary that this was coming out?
I didn't know it was 25 years, but I did know it was our anniversary. So Joe's the numbers guy. That's not me. So
yeah. So pretty kind of cool that 25 years later after our first real estate purchase. And if you didn't know, our first real estate investment was in ourselves, and we weren't even engaged. We weren't married, but I needed to buy a house. I was renting with my brother at the time. And I just said, hey, Jen, you want to go buy a house? And she said yes.
Yeah. Well, I knew I loved you, so it turned out pretty good, it seems like.
Yep. So that was our first time making our first jump, right? And this book, our chapter really talks about all the different leaps and jumps and things that we've done, all the way to shortly after that when you said, let's buy a preschool. So you were the first person to say, let's jump after that.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's something that I knew I had a passion for and I love doing. And you were 100% on board. Like you didn't even question it. It was just a dream, and you were like, let's go. And that's how we've always been with each other. So.
Yep. And I think that's important. It's also why we've had such an amazing dynamic and we've been able to build this business together is there's definitely been a lot of support. There's also been a lot of tears and a lot of, sometimes yelling and not always being on the same page, because that's part of being in a relationship. But we've definitely made some really great leaps together. And this is just one more step in our journey to have our first book published together come out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's exciting. And I don't know, it's kind of like fate, if you believe in that, how it's like full circle that it's coming out on Valentine's Day, which is that day so many years ago that we really started our journey. So it's pretty cool.
It is. So the book is called Hospitable Hosts, Couples Edition. There's been a couple of other Hospitable Hosts books that have come out over the past few years, mostly single people that have gotten into the space that talked about their journey, what they're doing in this space, because there's so many different ways to be successful in this space. But this one is specifically about how couples are doing this business together. I'm going to have quite a few of these other couples on my podcast. I know Harshad, Lon is going to be on, and the Duffys are going to be on. And these are other couples that have jumped into this space that are doing it together. But this is our story, and I'm super excited to be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's especially for me, this is something that's totally out of left field for me. It's nothing I would normally do. So, but being able to share it about us and our journey together, and hopefully it'll inspire other couples, so it's really exciting.
Yep. And, many of you are probably like, wow, you are actually married, because nobody knows who my wife is all the time unless you see some pictures on social media, because Jen doesn't have a social media. She doesn't even have anything, a social media presence at all, but truly is the brains behind our operation, who pretty much keeps me in check, everything from bookkeeping to the designs to ordering and all of those supplies. So how do you put up with me to be able to keep that going?
It's not easy. No, I mean, you're not giving yourself enough credit for everything you do. So seriously, it really is a team effort. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes that I do, but you're the social butterfly. You're the one out there making all the connections, and, with us together is why I think everything's so successful. So,
yeah, but it's been really exciting over the past couple of years to bring Jen to some of these. In the very beginning, when I went to conferences and different stuff like that, our girls were a little bit younger. She was staying back with them. Now our girls are definitely older, so Jen's able to come with us, and we're doing all this stuff together, whether it be going to Boston for the Short-Term Secrets event, going to the STR Wealth Conference, all these different things that we get to do together now. Yeah. And traveling with you has been one of the most amazing parts of this entire journey.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's with any business, any journey you do, there's going to be ups and downs, but there's a lot of pros, and, working with your spouse, your best friend, for me has been one of the best things I could ever ask for. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yep. So not only do we travel together, we share an office together.
We do.
From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever hours that we work that day, if we're both home, which honestly isn't always the case, but it was one of those cases today before we came here that we're in an office. Our desks are, kind of right by each other, and we're both doing our own thing. Although I don't really get to do all the stuff that I want to do when we're both in the office, because I'm usually, having to turn around and help out over here.
Oh, whatever. I would say working in an office together has been more of a struggle than I thought, just because we work very differently. So, but yeah, you're not tired of me yet. So.
Nope, it works great. I was actually showing a property in St. Louis the other day, and I could tell it was a couple that were there, and they had 2 different bedrooms and had offices set up in 2 different bedrooms, and they probably have different jobs, so that's why they have 2 different offices. But it made me think, we could do that at home, but I don't see any reason why. I think we do just fine in the same office.
I love it. I love working in the office with you. I think it goes good. I may talk more than you want me to, but that's okay.
Yeah. So, what I'm really excited about this book is really to share our journey with everybody out there, because there's a lot of people that are in this space, and a lot of people that are in the entry level part of the space where we were just literally 4 years ago, not even 4 years ago, that we bought our first short-term rental in this space. And we've really launched over the past 4 years. And the journey's gone quickly, but lots of ups and downs. I mean, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when we had our 1 or 2 co-hosting properties, we were trying to figure out, how to make ends meet sometimes. Like it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows.
No, for sure. And that's the thing. Like when I'm a big person that uses that term that we jump, all the time. So, but what people don't understand is sometimes when you take that jump, you don't have everything figured out. It's not a perfect plan. So we go all in, and sometimes we're scrambling. So it's also another phrase that I use a lot with us is it's sink or swim, and it's really not an option to sink, right? So that's what's so awesome about us doing this together is we help each other out. I think we motivate each other, and one of us has a low, the other one's there to pick us up, and we swim, we make it. So yeah.
Sometimes we're treading water,
that's okay.
Sometimes we're swimming fast, and sometimes we feel like we're going upstream, but definitely always swimming, because sinking is not an option. It never has been for us.
Nope. not at all.
And this goes all the way back to when we did buy our preschool, where we took every dime of our savings account, put our house up for Hawk, took all the equity out of our house, cashed in 401ks, and said, we're doing it. We're going all in on this business. And that was our first major leap.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think we had enough money in the savings to be able to pay the first month's rent.
No, we didn't. I mean, not to mention I was pregnant. So we already had Madison. So we had a little toddler, and then Marissa was on the way, and we took any savings that we had and we put it in this business, and it wasn't an option. Like, we had to be successful, So, and, it was really because you were there to support me and help me through all that, I believe we turned out where we did, and it was so successful. So
we did because, after that leap came the next leap, which was when I left my corporate retail position to jump into the landscape business, and went from making a really nice 6-figure salary and traveling all over the country to cutting grass for $500 a week. And that was just another leap that we did in our journey. And obviously the most recent one, jumping into the short-term rental space. And this part has been the best leap, in my opinion. Every single one has shaped us into where we are. Yeah. But this one's the most exciting because there is no limits in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it at all. Like with the preschool. Yeah, there is. I think there is a ceiling that you hit with that at some point. I love it. My heart's in it. But with going into real estate and the short-term rentals, I just feel like it's endless. There's so many opportunities, and it's forever changing, which is so exciting. So, yeah.
It is. I mean, what we've learned from setting up our first short-term rental back in 2022 to where we are today, I remember going back to, we had a partner on a house on one of our first 2 short-term rentals, and it was a empty house, brand new bill or rehab. So there was no furniture. So we literally went in 5 days, and we had never set up a full short-term rental really up to this point. And you designed it, and we set the whole thing up in 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah. It was quite a turnaround, but it was fun. And we learned a whole lot through that experience, for sure. But that's kind of what we do. That's the perfect example of how we just jump in full force. You jump in, you got to educate yourself. You got to learn about what you're doing. You got to submerge yourself in that. But yeah, you just go for it.
Back then, Jen was finding everything because we were on a very tight budget. We had to furnish a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a game room and a backyard for $25,000. And I was driving hundreds of miles all over to pick up marketplace items.
Hey, we did what we could.
We didn't have a big budget, so we had to really, really tighten the reins, and we did the best with what we had.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was great at the time. I mean, I thought it was awesome. We were very successful with that. So
fast forward just only a couple of years, and in the past 12 months, you have designed and we have set up 6 properties in the past 12 months.
It's wild. It doesn't feel like that many has happened. I don't know. But I guess that's what when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work, you enjoy it. So, but it's really crazy to think how much has happened in really a short period of time.
Yep. And we have our goals written down for 2026 and what we want to achieve. But just like last year, there was 6 or 7 curveballs that came our way, and other property opportunities that came on that we didn't even plan on or realize. And that's kind of how this business goes. Like, you have to be very flexible and very fluid because things are forever changing.
Yeah. You got to be ready to pivot, right? At any moment. But that's why it's also so important where, like this book, why it's so exciting for this book to come out and people to read. Because I really hope that they pick up on our story, at least, the communication. You've got to have that open communication with each other to know where you're at, what you're feeling when you do have to pivot. Like, sometimes I don't want to pivot, but I'm like, okay, you're going to talk me through it. You calm me down. I'm like, it's cool. And I do the same thing for you. So it's having that yin and yang, that balance, which is really important.
It is. It does help that, when you take a DISC assessment, that we are kind of polar opposites in some things.
Yeah.
I am, definitely a little bit more of the just kind of go with the flow, and Jen's a little more type A, but at the same time, you kind of can jump into both ways.
Yeah, I do a little bit of both. Like, you're not organized enough for me, that's for sure. So, but then there's other times where you are an overanalyzer and an overthinker, and I'm like, oh, good Lord, let's just jump and do it. We don't need to think it. I like to jump on my instinct a lot. So For a type A, that's kind of opposite, so it's like I pick and choose. I don't know. You never know what you're going to get.
That is true. Every day is a roller coaster.
Not that crazy.
But it has really been a fun journey. Even going back to our first short-term rental that we bought, we had been analyzing for months, and we found a great property, and I wanted to analyze more.
Months.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Forever.
It felt months. Maybe it was a year.
I
Maybe it
finally
was longer.
decided. I just said, look, if you want to go into this, we're either going to do it now, or I just can't hear about it anymore. Yeah.
And so on a Sunday morning, we were sitting on the computer and we found a property, and that's how we bought it.
That's it. I said, this is it. Let's do it. Call them up.
I did not fill out a pro forma. I did not even run comps.
No.
We just said, this is the right property for us, and let's do it, and let's jump in. And we didn't hit a home run in that property, but it made money. It was profitable, and it really propelled us to where we are today. Yeah. And we didn't sit around and analyze it too much further at that point. We just jumped, and we've been all in ever since.
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome. It's been quite the journey. And when you look back, like, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, and I guess it really hasn't, but at the same time, it feels like, wow, look how much we've done. It also feels like we've done it forever.
It does. It feels like we've been in this business for a decade, and we're not even at 4 full years, as of this airing. So it's definitely come a long way in a very short period of time.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess that's what the exciting part is, because we don't know what the next step is all the way.
No.
We're going to go with the flow this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have our goals and stuff that we want to do, and some are the same, some might be a little different, but yeah, we'll just take it as it comes, for sure.
So what are some of those goals? What is one thing or two things that you want to make happen this year as far as buying short-term rentals, co-hosting?
I don't know. I mean, with all the stuff we go to, this is always a big thing that they say. Do your goal setting. Talk about it as a couple. And I don't know if other couples out there are like us, but when we're sitting there doing these, I'm thinking, I want more time with my family. I just, I want to be accessible to my kiddos. They're at a great age where they're, starting their own lives, and I want to be there for them. I want to be there to support you on your real estate journey and to be able to help as much as possible now. And I mean, I'm always down for more travel. I'd love to get myself that little beach house I've been eyeing on the beach for me to redo, but that's what I think. I just think family, I'm kind of old school, but I want to be there to support you, my husband, and my girls, so I really feel like this business has also blessed me with that time to give back to my family, which is so incredible.
It has. I mean, Jen was very involved in the preschool day in and day out for over 15 years. And now, because of this business, partially so she could be able to step away and help me, we have full-time director and assistant director that's running the ship there, doing a phenomenal job, and we're really blessed to have them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So blessed. Like, my whole preschool family, everyone there, the teachers, the directors, I couldn't do it without any of them. But really, it's because of this new journey and the short-term rentals that I've been able to have that opportunity to step away. It's really given me that. So, yeah.
Yep. And I think, that experience of Jen building that team is what's helped us build our team and our team of people that are in Panama City Beach, because we're doing all this while still living in St. Louis with, our real estate business and our co-hosting business and owning properties are all 12 hours away. But we've built that relationship with and built that team for us, and we couldn't do it without them either. No. They truly are what allow us to be able to do this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's something I've said ever since with the preschool, and even before we owned a business, when we worked for someone else, you cannot forget that your business is nothing without the people you have helping you get there along the way, or the people working right alongside you, so anybody through this whole journey, I mean, they're part of our success. They're part of what's gotten us here, so, and I feel like we've been very, very blessed, with the people that have come along in our life and the connections that we've made, because without them helping us and guiding us and supporting us and us being able to learn from them, we wouldn't be where we're at all. So yeah, it takes a village,
It does. And that's growing, and our people that we're working with is growing. The community out here is growing, and it's been really, really great. And Super excited for this book to come out. So make sure on Saturday, on Valentine's Day, I think it releases either at midnight or 8 a.m. I'm not sure, but it will be available on Amazon on Saturday. And I'm really hoping you will order yourself a copy and take a look at our story and read about it. And hopefully it helps you in your decision on where you're going in your short-term rental business.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe it could be a Valentine's gift to your partner.
It is because, I have talked to some people in the space that are doing this alone. Their spouse has a full-time W-2 and they can't be involved. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because in some family dynamics, that's the way it has to work. So not every single couple is going to be able to completely step away and do this together. We were fortunate that we had another business before we jumped into this one that allowed us to do this a little bit more together. So some of you out there are watching this and you're like, "Ooh, I can't get my wife or my husband to do because they have X, Y, and Z." And that's okay. That doesn't mean they have to be in, but they're still going to be a supporter of you and you're still going to work on this together. And I think it's really important to find out what works for you and your niche, because what works for us is probably not going to work for everybody out there.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important, because even in the beginning, when we got our first short-term rental and you started in real estate, I wasn't able to step away. I was still full-time going in every day to the preschool. And and so for your spouse, if you're a spouse out there that is not able to be full force on board with this because you have a W-2, you're doing something else full time, I know that it can feel like, you're getting a little left behind. I did in the beginning. I was like, I want to know what's going on. I want to be a part of this. I don't want to be left behind, So that's why it's just so important to keep that open communication. Set that time for yourselves where you can, like we do, you have to set that time where you two can sit down and talk. You can go over, how was your day? What are your goals? What should we plan? Fill each other in so you're keeping each other, you're on that journey together, even if you're not able to work on it all the way, So, and I don't know if we really talked about that a whole lot in the book, maybe a little bit, but that's a really important part for people starting this out. Because I've had a lot of people ask me, it's so great how you guys support each other. My husband can't be here, or my wife can't do this, but you can in your own ways. There are still ways. You just have to carve out that time and give that to each other.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we do, or we try to do, and I can't say we do it every single Sunday, but the goal is every Sunday evening, after dinner, we sit down for an hour and we map out our week and what we have going on for that week and what needs to get done, what tasks need to get done, what travel we got to book, whatever it is we have going on in our world. But we write it all out. And then the honest truth is, on a daily basis, Jen helps me write out my calendar so I can stay organized, get my stuff done. Because if I don't write out my day, I could go a whole day and feel like I didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, you can get a little lost sometimes. It's all right.
And I think it's the ADHD in me in it. I think all of us as entrepreneurs have a little bit of that in us. Mine just sometimes gets there a little bit more than others.
Yeah, for sure. That's all right. And that's the thing. Like everyone's so different. And, with your partner, you do a business together, you're going to have weaknesses and strengths in different areas, but that's kind of the fun part. You got to learn it and then you can find what you're good at, like I was a little nervous, like leaving the preschool. I'm like, God, am I even going to be needed? Like, am I forcing myself in this part? But no, I know where I'm needed. I know what I'm good at, and your strengths in this part of it. So, that's a good thing.
It is. So no matter where you are in this space, you and your spouse definitely get on the same page. Everybody in this book has a different story. Every couple in this book has a different story. And some of them are in building and some are in design and some are in co-hosting. And there's so many really great stories in this book. I know a lot of the authors personally that are in this book. So I really think this is a book that's going to, really reach out to wherever you are in your journey, and you'll be able to take a little bit of it and hopefully it'll help you out. So
yeah, for sure.
I am super excited that you joined me in studio today. You're my second ever in-person guest.
Thanks for having me.
So it's been awesome. So thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
And thank you all so much for joining me on this week's episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker. So I will see you guys next week.